Sweet 16 inbound. Let's take a deeper look as Auburn tries to make it to another Final Four.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the book, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast, bonus edition. It's Kyle Rush, it's Ben Taylor, and we're ready to dive in to Auburn's Sweet 16 journey. Hey, actually, Final Four journey. They got to start with the Sweet 16, though. You got Sweet 16, Elite 8, hopefully, this weekend, and a lot that goes along with that. Which Janai Broome shows up, and what does the pathway look like to the Final Four? Before we jump into that, we got to give a quick shout-out to Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. Go to UncleKeith'sRedSauce.com. Use coupon code TheBarn25 for 25% off. You guys have been loving this stuff. All the messages, the tweets, the pictures. Definitely got to keep showing them some love. Auburn family as well. So Auburn family, Auburn fans, you can support them. Go to the website, UncleKeithsRedSauce.com. Save big. Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. It's good, y'all.
Kyle, Sweet 16 bound.
Let's go.
As Auburn survives the weekend, the opening weekend.
Finally.
Well, you know what was funny about that is Daryl Dapprich had talked to me a little bit earlier about this. I was glad to see Bruce not treat it like a survival. He was excited instead of being like, whew, we got through that. And I honestly, and I mentioned this to him as well, I didn't realize how scarred Auburn fans were because of Yale last year. Because during that first half, I hope nobody went on Twitter of the Creighton game because it was Yale all over again, even though I don't think either were similar.
No,
I think because of, one, the Chad Baker-Mazara thing of last year as opposed to this year where they definitely needed him. And I think that Jay Wright had it correct during a halftime report with CBS where he said, I like my position if I'm Auburn. There's no chance they hit 9 threes in the second half. And you're only 2 points down going into half. I like where Auburn was as well.
I thought Creighton played the best basketball game, the best half of basketball that they could possibly play, and Auburn was only down a couple of points. They hit 9 threes. They only averaged 9 threes a game. So you knew they were not going to do that again in the second half. And it's like if Auburn continues to just continue to score with them, and they'll tighten up, they'll figure some defensive stuff out. And they did. They had a 6-minute stretch where they held them completely scoreless, and that's where Auburn kind of put their foot on the gas and sort of stretched out that lead. But I think the scarring is a lot deeper than just Yale. I mean, it's multiple years now where it felt like, and I know Bruce may have put on a good game face, but I guarantee you there was relief. I guarantee you there was a monkey that they had to get off their back. And I guarantee you there was a lot more pressure. There's a lot more pressure on that game probably than there will be on Friday. Hey, Auburn's got to – if you do it 4 times in a row where you can't get out of the first weekend, now now the narrative is just that much deeper. I mean, you had Jabari and Kessler and you didn't get out of the first weekend. Last year, you were one of the dark horses that people picked to make a run. You just come off winning the SEC tournament. You go out in the first round, regardless of circumstances. The year prior, you're up 10 plus points on Houston at halftime. It's just, I mean, it does feel like a weight's been lifted. It feels how you feel about the journey. The rest of the tournament's changed after the first game. Like your perspectives change. It's just, I feel like everybody can kind of take a sigh of relief, fans and players, and say, okay, we got past the first weekend. Now we can kind of live free, play free and get after it.
Man, and you're going to a great spot too in Atlanta because Auburn's done well there this year. They feel right at home in Atlanta. They've already beat a Big Ten team in Atlanta.
You dominate Big Ten teams.
Exactly. Dominate big. I mean, trust me, there's some scarring there from the Big Ten when you look at Atlanta. Now, I will ask you, did you see my tweet about Ashford, the point guard, who said they can't guard me?
Oh my gosh.
and he
You
had
talking about the RTJ assistant pro? Is that what you're talking about? He does look like a golf assistant pro, doesn't he?
That or mine and your accountant, one of the two.
Yeah, one of the two.
They flashed to him. He says, you can't guard me. Well, apparently they could. So after he said that, he did not score another bucket until 35 seconds remained in the game, and that was a mop-up bucket. So
and he took a bunch of shots too. So
yeah.
It wasn't like he just didn't shoot.
Yeah,
he didn't score.
Don't tell Auburn's guards that they can't guard anybody. If there's one thing, if he would have watched any tape throughout the season, the one thing that they've been able to do is play defense. So when you say, "Oh, you can't guard me," I'm like, bro, do you really want to go down that road?
When you say it that early too, like there's a lot of game left. You know what I mean? Like there's so much game left. There's so much room for error. And people are going to be eyeballing you from that.
There's no doubt. And he made it, and it was funny because everybody in the building knew that he said it because they literally went to timeout right after that. So like he got to stroll off the floor, staring down Auburn's guard. It's not a good look. Like I don't suggest anybody do that. No, I don't suggest Auburn do that to anybody. Chad Baker may do that, but he'd be the only one.
Oh, Chad's gonna be doing the whole time. There's another funny thing, and it's the first time I've even talked to anybody about it, but I know you've probably seen it. They interviewed Tahad after the game, and they asked him why, when he does the little floater, after he makes the floater, he just waves.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, typically I'm waving at my mom, but I know she's at home tonight, so I was waving at her at home on the television.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny. Okay. But then if there's later on, Justin Ferguson put out a tweet. When he hits that floater, you can hear Chad Baker-Mazara on the bench yell, "Hi, Mom." You can hear it. If you find, got to find go follow Justin Ferguson on Twitter. When Tahad hits the floater, as it goes in the air, Chad says, "Hi, Mom." Like you can hear. So it was not something that Tahad just made up right off the bat. Like that's something he does. Whenever he makes a good play, he waves at Mom. And as soon as he let it go, I'm pretty sure it's Chad. You can hear someone audibly yell, "Hi, Mom," on the bench.
That's fantastic.
It's awesome. It is so awesome. And I'm glad that got some attention. You need to find that one.
I know that sometimes when he does his floater, though, if he does it with the right hand, he holds up his right hand to kind of show off, hey, I'm left-handed. I
can do it with both.
Yeah, I can do it with both. But now
he dunks right-handed. That's what's crazy to me. He dunks right-handed, and he does everything else left-handed. It's crazy.
The shot you're talking about, he actually – you could tell he was saying, "Hi, Mom," because he put the floater up with his left hand on that particular shot.
Then just left it up in the air.
Yeah. And so I think that's great. I got to go find that tweet now from Justin.
You got to immediately. It's great.
Because that's fantastic, number one, that Tahad does that. But number two, that the team knows it, and you got Chad on the sideline going, "Hi, Mom."
As the ball's in the air. Like, it's not even in yet. Like, he called it. You know what I mean? Like, he called the shot that it was going in.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, so Auburn, as they say, survives that first week. I think everybody survived that weekend. Florida survived that weekend as well.
There's some great basketball, man.
I mean, I wouldn't say Alabama survived, but they didn't really hardly play anybody. But still, they got a little bit of a fight. So, SEC teams that are going to be making it through, 7 of which will be making it through. That sets a record. 6 set by the ACC back in 11 or 14. I forgot which one it was. So now we head to the weekend. Player of the year could be on display with Janai Broome.
Yeah, voting actually. I got a take about this. I want to see what you think about it. So, I'm going to be honest. I think that the player of the year stuff kind of consumed Janai. I think it started to consume him mentally. I think the point where I've got the pressure on me to try to win this award, I think it affected him. And now that voting ended yesterday, so which is kind of weird how that voting goes on into the most meaningless two games of the tournament. But
yeah, I think that it should be
voting goes on into the tournament, and now the award won't be announced until April 1st, which is next Tuesday. So after the weekend. So now he can just go play and know there's nothing I can do to affect anything, positive or negative. I don't have to focus on if I miss this shot. I don't have to play tight on thinking I got to go, 10 of 10. and 20-10 to win it. I can just go play basketball. And he tweeted something after the game, and I honestly, maybe they weren't related at all, but it's like, hey, this is going to be a different me for the rest of this run. He's not been great. He's the offensively, he struggled mightily. I think he was like 4 of 13, missing a bunch of point blank looks.
Everything's short, man.
Everything's short.
Think he's tired or just tight?
Maybe a little bit of both. But I just think, I don't know. I think maybe with the voting and the player of the year stuff sort of in the bag, as far as it's over with, don't have to worry about it. Nothing else you can do can affect it. I think it may free him up a little bit to play a little bit more like the old Janai.
I would like to see some set lobs to get his confidence going to start the ball game, if at all possible. I know that's easier said than done, because especially against Michigan, because you're talking about the 2 7-footers that are down there. So I don't know that necessarily is going to be your way to get points early, is against them and lobs at the block. But everybody's clearly figured out Auburn's little high-low game with that pick at the top to the lob down low, after the roll, kind of a little mini pick and roll type deal. You haven't seen them do that a lot lately because it's not there. I mean, teams they're letting guys sink back. They're not wanting to give Auburn that. Now, where Auburn has got their lobs has been with the 2 bigs. Say Dillon gets it, he gets doubled. All of a sudden, weak side, somebody's open. Yeah, I'd like to see something like that to get the game open or get his scoring started, whether it's to open the game or whether it's 2 or 3 minutes into the game, just to get that. As they say, shooters like to see the ball go in the basket. Same deal with big guys. That you get them jacked up, get them to throw a couple of hammers down, then all of a sudden they're feeling it. And look at Dillon. Dillon's an awful shooter. He had a couple of dunks last game, and then all of a sudden he's putting up double digits in numbers because the confidence was there. So
yeah, they know more about basketball than I'll ever know.
No doubt.
Okay.
Yeah,
but Broome getting the ball at the 3-point line just makes. I don't want to see that very often. No, I mean, I know some of it is just how they set up the movement, but a lot of times he's getting the ball way too far away from the basket.
Yeah,
I need more, cuts and stuff like that where he can get a shot and go up with it. Yeah. Not get a ball in the block and then have to put it on the court, 5-6 times and do 6 or 7 pivots. Like, I know he can do that, and he's been really good at it. But I just want to see, man, get him some more point blank looks where he can just get it and go up with it instead of this having to bring the ball down and make a move. That's just not his game. And I think he's still injured, and that's probably a lot harder physically for him to do than just get the ball in the paint and go up with it. I don't know, man. Utilization of him has been kind of weird, I feel like, the last couple of games, and I'm just ready to see him get back more inside, pounding and getting the ball and going straight up with it, and stop shooting threes. Please stop shooting threes.
Well,
hadn't made a 3 in a month, it feels like.
That's the thing. And
I don't think he's made one since the game time one against Alabama. I think he's missed every 3 since then.
I think he has too. And they're letting him take them. I mean,
they're giving them to him.
They're giving him, like, if you notice, Creighton, their big guy would not go out there with Janai. When they'd give Janai the ball at the top of the key beyond the 3-point line, he's like, go ahead.
Why? Yeah. Why would you?
Yeah. Like, I'm going to stay I'm going to stay down here for any back cuts. You go do what you want up there. See, because we've been doing that with Dillon. Everybody knows Dillon's not going to take a 3. So we've been doing that, or defense have been doing that with Dillon for the longest time. But now they're doing it with Janai because, like you said,
he's 0 of 9.
Over.
He's 0 of 9 since the Alabama game.
And I get it. You're wide open. And I even tweeted out at one point in time, we had 2 back-to-back trips down the floor where our 2 big guys took 3s. That's not optimum offense for Auburn. No. And so I would like to see less of that as well. I get every time Janai shoots a 3 now, I usually get a text from 2 guys. They're like, he shoot 3s again. I'm like, I know, man. He's 0 for 9. I get it. So I'd like that to stop. But which Broome shows up, I believe that you're on point. I think that's a take I have not heard yet. I think he plays a lot more free this weekend than what we've seen. Not even the last 2 games. I'd say the last 4 games.
I'm with you.
I think he plays a lot more free.
Now, he played pretty good in the tournament. Like, he scored, over 20 in both games in the tournament. But the first 2 games of this tournament, I'm with you. I want to see the old Broome back. I want to see the Janai that, talked a little bit, talked a little trash, was confident. But I want him to get the ball inside, and I want to stop getting the ball at, 15 feet away from the basket or at the 3-point line. Let's get him inside. Let's figure out, get him some easy point blank looks, and then he can be the cleanup crew and just dominate. He's been great on the boards, so you got to give him the effort there. I mean, even when he's not scoring, he had 12, 13 rebounds last game.
Yeah, he's getting his double-digit rebounds.
5 or 6 offensive rebounds that were big. Still crashing the boards. Now we just got to couple it up with the points, and I'm with you. I think he's going to play freer, and he's going to have to bring his lunch, because Michigan has 2 pretty solid bigs.
Yeah.
That can make stuff happen.
And they're not going to come out there on him. I mean, we've learned that. That's why, like you just said, they're gonna forget more basketball than you and I ever going to know. But the offense has to change instead of giving him the ball at the top of the key, because they're not coming out there with him. Before, when a big guy came out there, Janai could beat him around. Now they're not going to come out there. Yeah, they're like, shoot it. And even after he hits, they're probably still going to let him shoot it, because they're like, he's 0 of 9. So what is he, 1 of 10 now? Okay, if he hits another, he's 2 of 11. Still, I think they'll live with that. So more than they will giving buckets underneath. So we shall see. For sure.
Path to the Final Four. Looks like Auburn has a chance. Probably going to play. You're going to play Michigan, obviously, another Big Ten team in Atlanta. Then you got Ole Miss or Michigan State.
I'm going Michigan State after watching them this weekend.
I don't know, man. Ole Miss just dismantled Iowa State. I know Iowa State was short a guy. I know they were short that one of their leading scorers, but still, they're playing good basketball. Who would you rather play?
Neither, because I don't want. I mean, it's going to be tough to beat Ole Miss that many times in a season. And
people say that, but we just keep doing it.
Well, I know we keep doing it.
Feels like we have their number. I don't know.
We're just a matchup nightmare for them, and that's the biggest issue. So that's probably, if I had to choose, that's the funny part is everybody goes, man, it's gonna be tough to beat a team 3 times. Well, it's gonna be tough for them to try to beat us 3 times in a row. Like, that's another thing, is you got to look at it as, even their coach has said, we are a matchup nightmare, and
this will be 4.
That's exactly it. Be 4, and they've had an opportunity to see Auburn 3 times and had 0 answers all 3 times. So I guarantee you Beard is not pulling for Auburn to beat Michigan. I can promise you that, because he doesn't want to have to see Auburn again. So I'd like to see Ole Miss, even though everybody goes, yeah, but beating them 4 times, it's tournament time. I throw that out the window. I think that, now it's one or done mentality. So
bring it on. There ain't nobody I'm scared of right now.
Exactly.
After that game on Saturday, I'll take on the Chicago Bulls. Don't care. This team, if that team shows up every game, it's going to be hard for them to lose. So we'll see what happens. Before we get out, got to give a shout out to mybookie.ag. Use coupon code BARN to get a 50% deposit bonus. Give them $100. They're going to give you 50 back on top to play with it. You can use that deposit up to $1,000. Get your Sweet 16 bets in. Auburn's, I think, 7.5 point favorites right now over Michigan. We'll see how that line moves towards the end of the week. NBA, MLB, all kind of stuff. Definitely check them out. mybookie.ag. Ben, thanks for joining us. We're going to have a lot of fun this weekend, and we'll talk again very soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.